Hello and welcome back to the channel everyone. Since you guys showed so much love for the first part and demanded a sequel, here are 8 Indian box office failures that became cult classics, part 2. And I have to start this list with Kshana Kshanam by the fallen genius Ram Gopal Varma. Today, Ram Gopal Varma spends most of his time sucking people's feet, but once upon a time in the 90s, the entire world wanted to touch his feet because of the insanely path-breaking movies that he used to make. After he broke out onto the scene with his blockbuster called Shiva starring Nagarjuna, he introduced a new genre to Indian cinema with Kshana Kshanam, one of our first road movies, where the main characters are constantly on the road on the run. The only thing that was conventional about this film, in the middle of the narrative, it had 4 to 5 songs stuffed into it, which may have been because of the market pressure for a second-time director. But other than that, Kshana Kshanam broke every single rule in the textbook of Indian cinema. And if you think that's an exaggeration, just watch the first 15-minute heist sequence, which is full of silences, without a single dialogue, just incredible visual storytelling. Or the climax, which is shot entirely on a train, 7 years before Chaya Chaya released. Every shot and every camera movement in that train sequence is a testament to the legend that RGV once was. And maybe because he broke so many rules in a single film, the audience wasn't ready for such an experience and it failed initially at the box office, before going on to become one of Telugu cinema's most iconic cult classics today. From RGV, we go to one of his students, his protege, his gift to Hindi cinema, Anurag Kashyap's Black Friday. Imagine being one of the millions of people who land in Bombay every single day just to make their mark in the world of cinema, struggling for a few years without any money, without any resources, and then getting into writing for television serials, suddenly earning a lot of money, and then giving up all of that money just to become one of the writers on Ram Gopal Varma's Satya, and then finally getting to make their own film 8 years after landing in Bombay, and that film runs into censor problems and then never gets released because of additional financial problems. Then deciding to make a second film which starts winning awards all over the world, but right before its premiere in India, getting the news that the Bombay High Court has banned the film. This affected Anurag so much that he went into a drinking binge for years together, unable to work on anything else until 2 years later, the film is finally cleared for release, and it changes everything we know about contemporary Hindi cinema. You may have seen hundreds of gangster films, but trust me, you would have never seen something as raw, as detailed, as expansive as this, and made on such a low budget as this one. Based on the 1993 Bombay blast, Black Friday is one of the ballsiest Indian films ever made, and there's no way in hell that anyone would even dare to produce such a film in today's day and age. Anbe Sivam, written by Kamal Haasan, directed by Sundar C. At least that's what they say. When it comes to box office failures that became cult classics, Kamal Haasan films are an entire encyclopedia of such legendary cult classics which initially didn't get the love that they deserved. But it'll always puzzle me why Anbe Sivam, which had such a simple story, good music, exceptional acting, didn't have any adult elements, and above all, one of the most feel-good Indian movies ever made. I have no idea why this failed at the box office. It talks about love, friendship, compassion, humanity, and the importance of seeing God in humans who practice all of these things rather than in idols or statues. And maybe that was what the audience wasn't ready for, to be questioned about their beliefs. Especially seeing the performance of part 1 of this cult classic topic, I understand that there might be a lot of North Indians amongst you, so if you haven't seen Anbe Sivam yet, please go check it out. But also, anytime you're wondering what to watch during the weekend, or anytime you need the company of a movie or a TV show when you're feeling down, if you want to find all of my recommendations in a single place, you should definitely check out Nokio, a really cool app for movie fans made right here in India. If you already use IMDb or Letterboxd, this app is extra special because it's a lot more social. It's driven by your friends and the people that you follow. You can discover new movies and TV shows to watch based on your circle's recommendations, add stuff to your watch list, rate and review them, and you don't just have to follow my recommendations. You can even recommend me stuff to watch. Like how Nived Ravindran, he just recommended me to watch Purusha Predam, which is a new Darshana Rajendran movie on Sony Live that a lot of people are talking about. Since the last time I spoke about Nokio in the Oscar video, more than 2,000 of you have started following me there, which is insane. So go and download Nokio from the iOS App Store or the Play Store. Try it out, follow me there, join this growing community of cinephiles, and let me know what you thought of it. Fan by Manish Sharma. Being a superstar gives you all the power and all of the riches in the world, but at the same time, it can also cage you and it can put you into the box and dictate what you can or can't do. And Shah Rukh Khan is probably one of the biggest examples of such a superstar who people accuse of doing the same thing over and over again, but reject him when he tries to do something different.
I don't know what should I do next. For God's sake, I'm going to be a dwarf in the next film.
Fan was one such unique attempt that captured the dark side of being obsessed with a superstar, with SRK playing the superstar and his own fan to twisted perfection. There are two particular scenes. One in the initial part of the film, the Dasera festival sequence, where the fan Gaurav does a performance aping his superstar, and another with SRK as superstar Aryan Khanna. This unassuming little scene, probably in the second half of the film, where he washes his face and he observes the wrinkles on his face. These two scenes are fine examples of SRK's acting prowess and his fearlessness to pick such roles that could potentially polarize his fans, which is exactly what happened. Fan was a super dark film under the disguise of a colorful commercial entertainer. It was an intelligent film trying to be dumb for the audience to understand, which is why the execution got mixed up. It had mixed reactions. It's a misunderstood yet unforgettable Shah Rukh Khan film that will be spoken about years from now. One, Nenokkadine by Sukumar. I'm going to be very honest, I didn't completely love this film, but at the same time, I just couldn't stop watching it. Yes, it's overlong. It has too many things going on in the narrative. There are too many distractions and the climax feels like a cop-out, but still, you can't ignore that Sukumar really tried to offer something new without pulling back any punches. Many people who watched the trailer of this film probably went into the theaters thinking that it's a hardcore Mahesh Babu action entertainer for the families, but unless you're actively invested in the story, unless you pay attention to every single second, it's definitely a tough film for the target audience to follow. Even someone like Rajamouli told him that the audience has to be prepared for the world you're going to create, the experience you're going to give them, and even he had a few doubts about certain events in the film. Sukumar himself feels that he wasn't able to pull off his idea to its fullest potential, but despite its flaws, I would rather that a film try to go for a 6 right from the first ball, and it's okay if it misses, but it's still better than a film that just takes singles in every ball of the over. Since the failure of Nenokkadine, even Mahesh Babu has been playing safe, taking singles in every film, even if he mostly manages to win every match. Lakshya by Farhan Akhtar. When you're in your early 20s, when you're about to finish college, almost every single person goes through some form of existential crisis, uncertainty and anxiety about the future. You're no longer that child who could just do whatever he wanted without thinking, but you're also not a full adult who has the wisdom, the experience to face the bouncers that life throws at you. There are very few Indian films that capture this state of confusion among the youth so well, and Lakshya is one of the finest, most sincere attempts to do so. Maybe a little too sincere. After the breakthrough success of Dil Chahta Hai, fans probably expected Farhan Akhtar to make another fun film about friends, but right in his second film, he took a completely different route, telling a coming-of-age tale of an aimless young adult, slowly changing from a confused caterpillar who refuses to take off to a flying butterfly, an officer of the Indian Army who scales mountains and peaks that he would have never dreamt of doing earlier. Very understandably, the entire team of Lakshya and Farhan were disappointed at the box office performance of the film, but 13 years later, sometime in 2017, when Farhan decided to visit the Indian Military Academy, the same place that he and Hrithik shot all of those iconic scenes from the first half, where Hrithik's character struggles with the military training, one of the officers at the IMA took him to meet a group of gentlemen cadets, and this is what happened.
He said, I want to show you something. He took the mic and he asked, he's like, how many of you are here today because you've seen the film Lakshya? And almost 70% of all those cadets put their hands up.
That is the influence of Lakshya. There are so many stories of young people who joined the Indian Army because of watching that film, and whoever didn't join the Indian Army, the film gave them some sense of direction, a sense of purpose, a goal to aspire towards. And if a film can have that much of an impact in the real world, suddenly box office doesn't seem that important anymore. Next is another all-time favorite, Tamasha by Imtiaz Ali. A lot of people, a lot of times, watch movies on the big screen so that they can escape from their real life, from their problems. But there are some films that don't let you escape that reality, because what you see on screen is another version of your own life. You've been through the exact same struggle as the main character, not being allowed by society to pursue what you really want to do in life. Even you've cried yourself to sleep because you're not able to fulfill someone else's expectations, and woken up every single day just to wear a mask and pretend like everything else is okay and just blend into the rest of the world. Tamasha is that film for me and for people like me. Not the first half in Corsica, but the rest of it, the main core of it. The actual story of a curious, passionate boy trapped in a man's body being unable to get out because society has locked him inside and thrown the key away. There are people like me who love this flawed film so deeply. There's also another group of people who love to shit on the film, calling it problematic and judging people like us who love the film so dearly. They don't get it that for many reasons, it's not just a film for us, it's a broken piece of ourselves projected on the big screen. Since the poor performance of Tamasha at the box office, even Imtiaz Ali, even he hasn't been able to get back up and deliver his usual magic. But just like Ved, who takes so much time to finally come back to being his own passionate, uninhibited self, we're all rooting for Imtiaz's return as well. And number 8 is Ulidavaru Kandanthe by Rakshit Shetty. One of the greatest filmmakers to have ever lived, Akira Kurosawa, he made this film back in 1950. The film was called Rashomon, and the speciality of that film is its narrative style, which shows a single incident narrated by different characters from their own perspectives, which makes you question what is the truth. This film became so iconic that its narrative style started to inspire so many other films, and it started to be called as the Rashomon effect. And we've seen the Rashomon effect in films like Kamal Haasan's Virumandi, Meghna Gulzar's Talwar, Park Chan-wook's Handmaiden, and so many more amazing films. But Rakshit Shetty took it to a whole other level when he took the Rashomon effect, combined another favorite of his, which is Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction, set it in a coastal landscape and a culture that's so familiar to him but something that we've never seen before. And what we got in the end is one of Kannada cinema's most inventive, most path-breaking films that has gained a hardcore cult following over the years. Ulidavaru Kandanthe was way ahead of its time when it first came out, but now the audience is much more prepared, much more ready for what's coming next. Rakshit is teaming up with Hombale Films, returning as director and the star of Richard Anthony, the prequel and sequel to Ulidavaru Kandanthe, starring the now iconic character of Richie. And this is most probably going to take Kannada cinema even higher than it already is right now. And that was the list. And if you really love movies, first download Nokio, go and check it out. And secondly, go check out my online store, my merchandise brand, fullyfilmy.in. You're going to find a lot of cool t-shirts and accessories inspired by your favorite movies, characters, stars, TV shows, anything that you can think of. Please go check it out and support our brand. But for now, thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.